Greetings, love warriors. It's a beautiful Friday, and I'm really enjoying the sun. I'm really enjoying being outside and enjoying the spring like Arkansas weather here. Um, we have such a variety of seasons, and sometimes just within 1 week. And so it's really interesting living here. You get to really be present with the weather. And actually, I kind of enjoy that. You wake up in the morning, look at the weather forecast. Is it going to be 50? Is it going to be 30? Is it going to be 80? You never know. And then I get to choose what I need to wear. And I don't know, it's kind of like really being present every day. So I don't know. Um, so the main thing I wanted to talk about was the fear-based agenda that is getting pushed on us a lot with the coronavirus. And I read a couple of things this morning which really made me sort of think about it differently. Even I'm really not a fan of the fear-based stuff. In all that I've learned about the scale of consciousness and vibrations and frequencies, I've learned that if you can just shift your frequency into out of the fear based and more into and toward love, then you're not in alignment with it, and so it doesn't affect you. And I've also been taught in my work and in the school where I attended that everything is energy, and that's the very simple way to look at it. However, when you look at it as a vibration and a magnetic sort of draw, I don't know why I can't think of that word, but anyway, you get what I'm saying. um, when you put out, it's kind of like the law of attraction, all those things. When you put out a frequency of, I'm afraid I'm going to get this, or I'm afraid this is going to happen, then you're calling it in. And it will. And I've seen it so many times. So my mom, she's so sweet. She was trying to tell me about it and trying to, oh, see, my phone agrees. Um, Trying to tell me how I needed to be more careful or whatever. I don't know. And I just said to her, Mom, what are you trying to tell me? Are you trying to tell me something out of love, or are you trying to tell me something out of fear? Because I don't want to hear the fear. I don't want to hook into that. I don't, you know, a lot of people get mad when I say that. And it's interesting to me that my sort of detachment from the fear, and that incites anger in people, which makes me wonder what that's really about. And as an aside, it's more fear. We've been taught to fear and we have to do everything right. And, I like to be middle of the road with it, honestly, guys. Like, I'm getting ready to make a batch of elderberry syrup today, which I'll be distributing to people who need it, and myself and my son. And I use thieves oil, and then I play the frequencies. I wash my hands. I, bathe regularly, things like that. I mean, just hygiene stuff. And then we're doing a big house cleaning and, clean the baseboards with thieves oil or whatever. There's lots of really great things you can do which are proactive and give you an empowered feeling, instead of sitting there going, you feel like you can't do anything. It's just going to come, and it's in the, we got movies, we got television, we got all this stuff that tells us, be afraid, there's so many things you can't control. And I just don't believe that. And it's not an ego or arrogant thing, and I think that's what triggers people. Sometimes they've been taught that you've got to go along with the agenda, and if you don't, then you're wrong. And it's a kind of a very closed-minded approach to things. And as I've tried to expand my consciousness a little bit, which is sort of my um, platform, I guess, if you will, and work more on unconditional love for myself and for you and for others, um, then I start to understand that when you are vibrating higher, and I don't like to use higher, lower, it's different, okay? Like, so 20 versus 540, you want to vibrate it at shame, then that's a lower based frequency, which comes with it lower based things. And I'm only using lower and higher as a descriptor. If someone can think of a better one, please. It's kind of an old pattern. I'm trying to work on that, but it's not, it's just different. Okay, so the frequency over here, the frequency over here, and there are things that come with this frequency which we sometimes in this culture consider to be bad, like being sick, disease, death, all that stuff. So you're going to get this thing and then you're going to die. So, and there's nothing you can really do about it, but we want you to be really afraid. And I read something this morning, and again, like the conspiracy stuff, like I find it super interesting, but I like to be middle of the road with it. So, like, if there's my philosophy, honestly, is just pretty basic, which if there's a lot of controversy around something, I'm probably not going to do it. Um, it. Let me qualify that. If there's a lot of controversial, like nobody really knows what it does, there's enough people on both sides, like, I'll just be really crazy and say vaccines. Like I tried to choose a middle of the road approach with that, and this was 20 years ago when my boys were born, and I just did a few. I researched all of them and decided which ones I thought were applicable to us and did a few, and then we did homeopathic stuff to support their system around all that. Now, do I wish that I had done none at this point? Maybe, but I knew some people that their kids got whooping cough and it was really bad. So, middle of the road for me, and so the all of that other stuff, I should you do this? Should you do that? I don't know. You have to decide for yourself. And if you feel like the potential threat is worse than the cure, then that's your call. So with all this stuff around the coronavirus, there's a lot of things we could say, which are like, it's an election year. Someone said this morning, which I don't think is a terrible theory. It's an election year, and there's always some big thing that comes up. I mean, and around an election, so that whoever ends up in office can save the day. I mean, it's kind of a platform, guys. I feel like it's kind of a show, and I feel like a lot of the things that we're being told, they aren't necessarily true. Like, you got to know that. If you do enough research, you don't have to do much either. There's a lot of fake news out there. There's a lot of, things that have been blown out of proportion. We don't know if we're not there. And yeah, I have friends that say, well, I have a friend who was there and that is happening. And it may be, but we don't really know until we have a person that's there or we're there. And so what ends up happening is we get pulled into this fear-based belief that you're going to die from this if you don't get this vaccine. And then what's in that vaccine, we don't care because we're so afraid that we're going to die. And I got to tell you, that just seems kind of rigged to me. So you decide what you want to do. But for me, I'm just spending time in meditation, clearing my energy. It's not really changing my life. I'm not going to talk about it with you. If you see me out in public, I don't want to talk about it. This is it. This is all I'm going to say about that, because I don't even want to look in that direction. I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't need that. And if it is indeed something that we can't really control, then what's the point of fearing it? You just, it's kind of a waste of energy. And if I've only got, you know, this much more time on the planet, I don't want to spend it being afraid. So my message to you would be, please, please, please get out of the fear, get out of the anger, and that all of that stuff is a vibration that brings things with it that you probably don't want. I'm guessing. Just think about the stuff that's been happening and the stuff that happens around that, and then it makes you want to do other things which are kind of harmful to you, like addictions and things like that. So just, when you feel yourself wanting to get upset about anything that you see on the news or whatever, just just take a couple breaths and get grounded, and just ask yourself, is this a good way for me to spend my energy? Is this a good thing for me to put energy into? And am I putting energy into love or fear? What do you want to do? What's your intention with your thoughts? What's your intention with your energy? And then do that, and you'll always be right when you come from your heart. So I love you, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you again soon.